He's not a real deal.
When we were driving
ice
to
cream cone?
Sacramento, like people would drive by and we'd be in the car like holding the microphones going, hi!
Comedians in cars getting coffee.
There's nothing funny about this, and we're not getting coffee. All right, we're rolling now.
All right.
Hey guys, this is a extra special, silly little last minute thing. We're on the road in traffic to do some geography podcasting here. We're on the 15 South.
Geography podcast.
Yeah, we're going to get down onto the 8 and go up to SDSU, and we're going to go to, what is this thing called? Outcry?
Outcry. Outcry is like the festival of some kind. It's got a whole bunch of bands.
Yeah, it's like a big like praise and worship festival. By the way, this is Jonathan on the mic. He's my worship leader at church, and you invited me to come to this thing yesterday?
Yeah. I think I just sent out some texts, and you're the only one who said yes. So that's how good this thing's going to be, I think.
I mean, I have to come clean. It was either come to this or go to a birthday party at my wife's like family at like the in-laws. It's like, I think I'll go to this thing.
Are they not listening?
No, I don't think so. It would have been fun. It would have been a good time. But I was like, this sounds like a fun thing to do. I haven't been to like a worship concert since I got my driver's license in my own car. So I went to things that my mom didn't take me to.
Okay. So what? Do you have any idea what your last one was?
Oh, man. I mean,
worship concert.
It could have been a lot of different things back in the day, like going to my family's church. My family goes to the same church that like Phil Wickham goes to.
Okay.
So I saw him a lot.
Right.
There was a band called The Cry.
Oh, yeah.
That would play a lot. You know The Cry?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I used to have a CD.
I had a couple of them.
Yeah.
I liked The Cry. I think I would still like them if I listened today.
Yeah, they had a song or two I liked.
Yeah. Can't remember who else. I mean, here's the thing, like, I probably shouldn't be telling this to you because you're kind of my employer. I mean, you don't pay me, but you pay me in letting me play music.
Yeah, and I just got you a ticket to a concert.
Yeah, but I don't listen to like praise and worship music on my own unless like I'm.
You listen to surf rock or what do you listen?
Yeah,
to? I've heard what you play, so I don't know.
I listen to all sorts of stuff. But like it's like kind of like vintage stuff most of the time, like garage rocky, punk rock sort of stuff. But I just don't seek it out on my own.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know who any of these people playing tonight are.
Right, but you're going to know some of the songs.
Well,
and you've actually played some of the songs.
Oh, I know I have. I'm sure I have. Well, that's part of my thought, and something I'm wondering about is, like,
how are we doing?
No, like, well, I want to check that out. I want to see, like,
deal?
One of my thoughts was like, can I get any better by watching people play it on a professional level?
Right.
My other thought was like, like every worship band I've ever been on, we play everybody's songs. Like, are these worship bands going to, like, be fighting over, like, who's going to play what song, like, behind the scenes?
Like they're playing each other's stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that they're actually writing their own stuff. A lot of these guys, so it's groups of, the whole thing now, I think the whole scene now is church bands have teams of people that write stuff.
Right.
And when they go, they'll probably have, like, 3 lead singers that switch off on songs that they've written as a team, as a church. So they probably fight over them a little bit. You might hear... versions you've never heard, but most of them will probably be versions you've never heard.
Like, do you think there's any chance we'll hear the same song multiple times?
I think there's no chance.
You think there's no chance?
I think there's no chance. I think that they.
Well, if it happens, I'm going to turn and I'm going to look at you. I like look over my glasses. And
didn't we already hear this one? Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, I can't imagine. We went to one. It was Jesus Culture in Bethel. And I think there was somebody else there a couple months ago. And those guys actually share a lot of the same songs. Like, they record a lot of the same stuff on their albums, but they didn't have any duplicates.
Gotcha.
So I would be surprised.
I mean, it's a big tour. They probably do the same set lists at every destination. They probably have it all wired and all figured out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's big production. There'll be a lot of people there.
I think this is like an open-air amphitheater that we're going to.
This was inside. Or if it's the same, it should be the same one we went to last time.
Huh.
Yeah. If it's, it's the same place. I don't know if they have.
It's down at SDSU. I don't remember the last time I saw a show down there. So
what was the last just concert in general that you went to?
Just any concert?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. The problem is that I don't go to concerts that I don't play in anymore.
All right.
So if I'm going off of that. the last concert I went to is the one I played is called Tiki Oasis.
Tiki Oasis.
It's a giant tiki convention down here in Mission Valley.
Yeah.
They take over an entire hotel.
Right.
And there's just a lot of rum drinks.
Okay.
And a lot of Hawaiian shirts.
Okay.
And a lot of costumes and just nonsense. That was back in like.
And you played in that.
I played a hotel room.
With a grass skirt.
I played in a hotel room.
Did you get yourself all decked out Hawaiian like?
No, because I was dressed up for my band.
Okay.
I was dressed up as a dinosaur.
Oh, that's right. That's right. What's the band name again?
Dinosaur Ghost.
Okay, that's right.
My audience already knows this.
Is that a giant like inflatable? Is it one of the ones with the big head?
I don't want to talk about that too much.
Okay, yeah, everybody they already know all that stuff.
Yeah, so
you should have brought your costume to this concert though. That might have got you some stage time.
So who are you most excited to see tonight, or what are you most excited about?
Elevation. I like Elevation Worship. I think they're awesome. We actually do a few of their songs. Bethel, I just saw them. They're good. They're all right.
Yeah, they're whatever. Bethel,
Yeah, Bethel, whatever. They're awesome. But Mosaic, I know nothing about, but we do one of their songs.
Right.
I think that they're in L.A. An L.A. church
I know that
something.
Mosaic is like an L.A. church.
Yeah, and I think they're out of that.
Is it? I know it's pretty common for like the worship band to just be named after the church. Is that the situation?
Bethel, that's their story. Elevation, yeah.
And I know Hillsong is like
right.
the thing.
So that might be a requirement for this particular group, that concert that we're going to, because I know Bethel and Mosaic and Elevation all have churches that they're part of. So I think maybe
if we ever went big time with our church band, what would we call it? Canyon Springs?
No, we would not.
We would come with a new name, right?
Yeah, we would. Dinosaur Ghost, probably.
You're not going to steal my name.
We just say.
Well, here we'll do Canyon Springs Church Band feat Dinosaur Ghost, and it'll just be me in my costume.
There we go. The rest of us, no costumes.
Right.
Yeah, okay. That sounds terrible.
It would be really bad and not a good idea.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't get an opening spot for the Outcry tour.
These guys are really weird.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I think now I'm starting to remember, I did used to go to what would qualify as worship concerts. Kind of when I was like a couple of years after college age, I was going to a church called The Flood.
Heard of it.
And
it's down here, right? San Diego area.
They would have there was a band called Something Like Silas.
Okay.
And then they morphed into a band called Future of Forestry, but they were like the house band for the church.
Okay.
But they would have all sorts of. There was like a big like college aged.
Right.
Like church service that they would do, like nights.
Okay.
It was a great place if you were a young single.
Right. So here's something funny. I just went the other night. I went to Crowder.
Oh yeah,
David Crowder.
I think he played there one time. I think I saw him. He's a big bearded guy, right?
Yeah, big bearded guy.
Yeah.
And he's awesome. But what's funny is I've been listening to him for 20 years. I love his stuff.
Uh-huh.
I've only seen him in concert once before. But what was funny is when you go to this concert, clearly everybody who is at the concert has also been listening to him for 20 years.
Right.
Because he started in college ministry, and there's like nobody under 40 in this place. And so a couple of kids, I think, who were there for the opening act.
Right.
But it was super funny.
We're like, when I saw him, which must have been 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like, he was like the college thing. Like,
right. Yeah.
Everyone was like in college and young.
That's where he started. He started college ministry doing in Texas somewhere.
And he still has the beard.
Oh, man.
That's his thing.
Like, in comparison, he didn't have a beard before compared to what it is now. Yeah, it is like...
He became a man,
Yeah, he's got things living in there now. I mean, it's full on.
I had a long beard like that for half a year. It's a commitment.
Right.
It's a commitment.
Yeah, he's committed. I don't think he even knows what his face looks like at this point.
So what do you think the audience will look like at this thing tonight?
As far as demographic?
Yeah.
Man, I think it's going to be all over the board. I think it's going to be, everything from your mom to...
Like people who look just like
kids.
us, like just older dudes who play in worship
bands.
bands.
Yeah, we might be the exception, actually, to the whole thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I think you're going to have a lot of church ladies and you're going to have a lot of teenagers. The way that they promote it, I think.
I didn't know about this until you invited me. I didn't even know it was going on. I'm so out of the loop.
Yeah, I've known about it for a bit. We were planning on getting people going earlier, but then I was like literally last day. Like, hey, who wants to go? I'll buy some tickets. So I was in Haiti last week or the week before or something like that, and it threw me off. So
yeah, when you go on a big trip, it interrupts your entire
you're like,
process.
I'm not really thinking about that concert at that point.
Well, do we have anything else we want to touch on before we go into this thing? I'm thinking that we should
Are we going to recap it on the way back?
I think we should recap on the way back.
And see how it was? Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let's do that and see how close we were as far as demographic and experience, musical.
We're either going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the most incredible, spiritual experience of our lives, and we learned so much as musicians.
We'll be choking back tears on the way back.
We're going to be inspired. We're going to be like, let's put in the work. Let's become a professional worship band.
All right,
we're going to make it happen.
Man, I hope that's what happens. Actually.
Or we'll drive away and be atheists. That's the range.
That would be an ultimate bomb concert. They just failed at everything they did.
That's a half-star review.
Yeah. Turns out there is no God. Just based on the fact that I went to a Christian concert.
Yeah, my whole life has changed now.
No, I don't. Yeah, that would be quite surprising. So we'll see.
All right, guys, stay tuned. We're going to find out after the break. Are we super Christians or are we atheists? There are only two results from this.
It's only one or the other.
All right, we did it.
We did it.
That was like a 4-hour show.
It was long.
That was a long one. I'm surprised it's so long. I looked down on my clock towards the end. I was like, I can't believe we've been here for 4 hours. I didn't feel like I was standing up for 4 hours.
So what do you give it? 1 through 10. What do you give it?
Well, I'm still a Christian.
Okay.
I didn't become an atheist.
Well,
How about you?
I think we only gave it 2 options, right? We only actually gave it a 1 or a 2.
It's a binary response.
Got a hard 2.
I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Just the.
Do I want to turn here?
No, you want. Yeah, you want. You're here. You're good.
Okay.
You're good. We're driving right now. Jonathan is driving one-handed, and this might be the last you hear from us.
All right. Well, if they hear from us, everything's good. So
the production levels of the show were just kind of crazy. Just how many people were there? The sound system, the lights.
They're dialed. They are dialed in, and that's the thing about I think a lot of modern music. I had a friend who was in a band up in Spokane, and I asked him, I was like, are people playing with computers? Because he was playing with a lot of guys. And he said anybody who's doing a big touring show is playing with tracks.
Right.
They're running it. That's how tight you kind of have to be anymore.
Right. Well, it keeps the whole band on the same page.
Right.
It kind of kills any opportunity to go off script, though. Which is probably better.
Yeah, for those guys, I think especially, there are ways to do it.
There's not going to be a surprise solo anywhere.
Right,
like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, those guys are locked in. They've got CD instruments playing behind them.
It sounded good though. I was watching everyone play. It's everyone's matching up with their parts. Whether I think that's their sound. There was a couple times it was that doesn't sound like it would have been recorded. That sounds like someone playing the real part.
Well, I think they get solid musicians playing at the same time. Oh yeah, we want to go that way. Let's go home. I was thinking Mexico.
Unless you want to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I don't know. So as a worship leader, what's your takeaway when you come away from something like that?
The funny thing
is there anything oh man, there's a thing we got to do that,
Well, I think we've been moving kind of in that direction a little bit. I mean, we did talk about the low end, the subs. They had it cranked, right? I mean, just low end.
The low end presence of the whole show was just over the top. Really, the mix was the drummer,
right?
And just the bass drum and the floor toms,
yeah,
and then the bassist just dropping bombs all night. Yeah. And this was for there was 4 or 5 bands that played, something like that.
Right, yeah.
It was the same thing for everyone.
4.
And then on top of that mix is all the vocals.
Right.
All together, just dominating. And then the guitar is kind of in there when it needs to be.
Right. I think
and then there's a lot of
kind
of EDM style synth stuff happening.
Yeah.
You got to have a red keyboard.
That's key.
That's the key to the praise and worship sound.
That's what God's using these days.
The red keyboard.
The red keyboard. But I mean, it used to be acoustic guitar. but now the red keyboard is taking it over.
It's crazy how far, like, because that was basically a church service.
Yeah.
That we went to, a 4-hour-long church
4-hour
service.
long, so
with a lot of
old school Pentecostal
like,
church service.
But like, you know, I started going to church when I was a little kid.
Right.
It's kind of the same thing, only it was like one dude on a stage with an Ovation plugged in and an overhead projector and someone changing the slides out. And it's still
same thing.
Kind of that format, because it's like they had all the screens there. They were, you know, they were
lots of visuals,
putting all the lyrics up on the screens.
Right.
Like, it's just exactly what that was 30 years ago when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Just with the production value turned up like a million notches.
Right.
Like, it's the same. It's the same concept, and it's crazy to think that this kind of style of church music has evolved over like 3 decades of my
and that's
life.
one of the things that I've thought for a long time is that church music or Christian music, worship music especially, is its own genre. Like, I feel like a lot of Christian music that's not worship music is kind of really cheesy.
Right.
But worship music doesn't really compete with much.
It's really its own. It's kind of a cultural thing. It's its own cultural thing.
And like you said, every band could have been the same band. Like, there's a certain sound that's all worship.
Well, it's like
they all did it.
It's not even band centric. It's the whole center of the whole genre.
It's a red keyboard,
if you want to call it genre, is lyrical content,
right?
And this kind of I've heard it called like corporate worship, where it's like the goal is to have everyone singing along,
right?
And so there's certain things that have to be in the song structure that make it easy for everyone to sing along, and everyone to be on the lyrics with the band,
right?
Where there's going to be a lot less like showboating. There's going to be a lot less like complex kind of like musical hooks and like strange time signatures and whatnot and stuff like that.
Exactly.
It's a very like cultural thing.
It's predictable in the way that like there were songs that I had never heard and I was singing along and not missing a note. Like, oh, like, she's going to go here and then she's going to go there.
It's very utilitarian. It serves a purpose.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
and I think it sounds awesome.
Oh, it sounds great.
I love what they do.
And they've done so much to make it as dramatic as possible. like everything sounds like the dramatic movie score build-ups. Just like, here come the bombs. It's just gonna drop, and it's just like the most dramatic thing you ever heard. And like, where do they even go from here? And then it gets heavier and heavier.
Right.
You know?
It's like, well, don't they do that in dance music too? It just keeps on build. Like
there was only one part in the night where I actually heard an acoustic guitar.
Really? Like, you actually heard it coming through?
Yeah, and it was like a quiet like intro to a song.
Yeah.
And that's something I was wondering, as someone who leads with an acoustic guitar, is it frustrating for you that like to see people on the stage? Like, there are a couple bands where like there's 2 people playing acoustic guitar and you don't hear any of it.
Not at all. I kind of like it. I mean, it gives you a freedom. I mean, I'm sure those guys could hear it in their mixes, their monitor mixes. But I read this thing a couple years ago that said that the laptop computer is going to become for the next generation of musicians what the acoustic guitar was for the previous generation.
Oh, because it's accessible. Everyone has it. Everyone can like download software and just
it's now so easy to produce things. And so I like acoustic. I feel like there are still guys out there, Ed Sheeran, Phil Wickham in the worship world, who can still do more with an acoustic guitar than most people can do with a laptop computer.
Oh, sure.
So I just feel like this particular group was like, it was all computers and basses and drums and voices
and red keyboards.
Yeah.
I mean, there were parts where I could hear the electric guitar and hear what they were doing. Yeah. And I've been kind of on a journey. I guess my New Year's resolution this year is to become a better player. Yeah. Which should have been my resolution 20 years ago. Look out for this guy. I've got a semi-truck here.
Right. But I think we'll survive this one.
I've been listening to them play something that a couple Sundays ago I recorded myself playing off my monitor mix. Yeah. And like listening to myself playing, kind of self-critiquing, I'm like, I really need to get away from just chasing the melody lines. Yeah. Because none of those guys were doing that tonight. No one was writing.
What did you notice that they were doing? What like when it was cutting through, what were they doing?
Well, most of the time they're writing like long delays and reverbs, doing like pad sounds and stuff like that. Right. But then when they're popping through the mix, they have like a simple riff that they're dropping.
Absolutely.
That's not the melody, and it's not even the harmony. It's some kind of creative, like 4 or 5 note riff.
Right.
And they just, they lay into it and they make it work.
Right.
They find
every worship song has that hook, that guitar hook, or it's a keyboard hook. Every single thing that's being written right now, that's part of it. And
so I need to figure out how to come up with those hooks. Because I improv everything. I don't know if you know that. I don't learn
sometimes if we practice it enough and then like somebody else plays it, you get it.
Right.
But it always sounds good either way.
I need to shift my mentality to figure out how to improv those kinds of parts.
Right.
Because I'm still not going to learn the songs.
Yeah. You'd notice like they would start songs, like Elevation would start a song and they would just have their little lick. Yeah. And the crowd would all cheer. Because everybody knew in the first 3 notes of that little groove, they're like, oh, we know exactly what song this is. And it's awesome. So, yeah, it's good.
Now we're getting off the freeway, guys.
Getting off the freeway.
Geography update.
It took way less time to get home.
It's strange that rush hour isn't going on at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah. But anyway, it was good. Loved it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad you invited me, and I said I'd go.
Right. You could have been celebrating a birthday, and you would have been home probably a lot earlier.
Yeah, I'm still gonna stay awake. I'm a night owl, so it's not like I'm out late.
Okay.
But it was fun going to a thing like that, and just having it be so long since I'd been to something like that. Because even when I go to shows, even when I was going to shows before I had a kid and stuff like that,
right?
Like I'm going to small venues, like gritty little dives that have no sound system.
Yeah,
it's crazy to be in like an arena situation,
right,
where there's just a sea of people.
So you haven't been to anything like that for a bit?
No,
like
not a long
time. Like
I've
any
never,
genre?
No, not any genre.
Okay,
I typically don't go to big shows like that. It was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was cool.
And then, like, I was remembering back when I did go to stuff like that, and it'd be like, the Christian like outreach shows and stuff like that, where it would be an arena situation. But back then, I was like a teenager, and like thinking back, like where my mind frame was.
Right.
It's like, wow, I'm not a teenager at all, and I don't think like that anymore.
Right.
Like, that's crazy. I'm a full-grown adult man.
Yeah. What am I doing here? This is
like, I am not here to meet anybody.
Well, in our demographic,
I am literally here.
Yeah.
I'm not here to like hang out with anyone. I'm literally here just to like
listen to some music and experience
and like get a beat on what's going on.
Right. Yeah. No, it was awesome.
Am I old now? Does that mean I'm old?
Well, you were pretty much the oldest there besides me in the entire place.
There was a bunch of other dads around wearing Hawaiian shirts just like me.
There you go.
I was probably the youngest person there wearing a Hawaiian shirt unironically. I'll say that.
That's awesome.
All right, well, thanks for inviting me, Jonathan. Yeah. Everyone should go listen to the podcast Jonathan's on.
10 Steps Further.
10 Steps Further.
Yeah.
Look it up on iTunes or wherever. I was a guest on there. I forget the title of the episode, but
I do too. But we'll have you on again, and then we'll try to remember it.
It's a fun, churchy podcast. If you like that sort of stuff, go check it out. All right, later, guys.
There you go.